one of the divine lessons of Sagittarius is that your beliefs shape your reality. And some Sagittarius people know this, and some Sagittarius people are still learning this. If you think of Gemini as being like the script writer of your life, right? Gemini is holding the pen, writing the script, writing the words, writing the story of your life. But Sagittarius is the publisher. Sagittarius publishes only based off of what you actually believe is possible for your life. So this is something really, really important that I learned. So if you've ever heard of scripting is when you write how you want your life to go based off of from a future perspective. So let's say I would write, I am so grateful that I finally found the right partner. I am so grateful that I finally found a job that I love. I'm so grateful that I have, $5,000 in savings. Stuff like that. But if you don't believe that you're ever going to find love, you can script about finding love all day and all night, and it's not going to manifest because you don't believe that it's possible for you to find love. So Sagittarius really deals with beliefs and what you believe is possible. So Jupiter is the planet that rules Sagittarius, and Jupiter is fast expansion. Sagittarius can be very, very lucky, very, very wealthy people once they've figured out this lesson that, it's all about your beliefs. And, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and Pisces also is the sign that rules beliefs. The phrase associated with Pisces is I believe. So both Sagittarius and Pisces are sort of linked to your belief system and what you actually believe is possible for your life. And it's a lot of hard work to change your core beliefs. If it was easy, everyone would do it, and then we would all be, living fabulous lives. But if you can actually put in the work of changing your core beliefs, you really can change your life. And you can receive that rapid expansion of Jupiter. Jupiter is known to be the biggest benefic of the zodiac, Venus being the second. So I always love to talk about the 12th house in relation to the divine lessons of each sign. So the 12th house for Sagittarius is Scorpio. You see, because if we take Sagittarius, like this, Sagittarius on the first house, that would make Scorpio the 12th house. So the first house always goes on the left of the horizon line. So this is the horizon line, this is the left, Sagittarius on the first house. That makes Scorpio the 12th house for Sagittarius. And that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because Sagittarius is a very positive, optimistic sign. It's very bright, it's very sunny, it's very happy, it's very positive, it's extremely positive. And that's one of the reasons why they're able to attract so much positivity into their lives. But if Sagittarius has not integrated the dark side yet, then things can really get messed up. And I used to really, really dislike the sign of Sagittarius, because I think the Sagittarius people that I knew of when I was younger were more like the dark side rearing its ugly head type of scenario. So when you don't acknowledge the darkness, because Scorpio rules that dark part of you that we all have, when you don't acknowledge the darkness, when you keep pushing the darkness into the subconscious, which is the 12th house, It's going to rear its ugly head in your life. So the darkness has to be acknowledged. So when a Sagittarius is not acknowledging the dark side, if there's a Sagittarius person in your life and you don't really like them, that's probably why. It's because they haven't figured out how to integrate their dark side yet. Now, once Sagittarius has learned how to integrate that shadow, then the real beauty of Sagittarius comes forth. Because the most beautiful life blossoms once you figure out how to integrate that shadow. And that's something that we all have to learn how to do. We all have to learn how to acknowledge our darkness and channel, negative energy in healthy ways so that it doesn't become toxic and take over. So there's a link here that I'm seeing between Sagittarius and alchemy, because that's really what alchemy is all about. Alchemy is about taking negative emotions, negative situations, and turning them into positive things that benefit you. So an example of that would be, this is just the first example that comes to mind. An example of that would be, let's say somebody breaks your heart. They just completely shatter your heart and they make you feel awful. And you take that feeling, that emotion, that depression, that sadness, and that despair, and you write a song about it. And now you are profiting off of that song that you wrote. So maybe you had a lot of fun, performing it and recording it and making a music video for it, and now you're making money off of it. So that's one example of, taking a negative situation and turning it into a positive outcome. So if you are a Sagittarius and you feel like you haven't quite figured out how to integrate your shadow yet, I would definitely look into alchemy. Research some books on alchemy, and you would probably love that because you're so philosophical. And alchemy is a very philosophical topic, especially spiritual alchemy. You can also look into emotional alchemy as well. So something that's really important to acknowledge here is that it can be really hard to decipher whether or not you have integrated your shadow yet. Because if you're a Sagittarius rising or someone who has strong Sagittarius energy, you may not be consciously aware that you even have a shadow. That's why it's in your 12th house of the subconscious. So you might want to ask, the people who you're closest to in your life, or, anyone that you trust. If you're a very self-aware person and you trust yourself, you could even ask yourself, in what ways is my dark side showing up in my life and in my world? And really sit with that question and be honest with yourself. Is my shadow side manifesting in ways in my world and in my relationships that maybe I don't want it to? Is it time to acknowledge the shadow? Is it time to integrate that shadow? Really sit with that question. And I would highly encourage you to ask yourself and at least one other person who's very close to you, who you trust to give you an honest answer, because this is what makes the divine lesson of Sagittarius such a hard one to learn. Is because how can you be aware of your shadow if it's in your subconscious? That's what astrology is for. Astrology is here to make the unconscious conscious. That's why I'm so obsessed with this 12th house thing. So, yeah, I'm super in love with the Sagittarius right now. I love him so much. He's so funny. He's like, and that's the other thing about Sagittarius. It is the sign of comedy. And we just make each other laugh all day long, and it's so great. And even though, I'm a Pisces sun, he's a Sagittarius sun, even though our suns are squared, I still feel that there are a lot of similarities between Sagittarius and Pisces. As I stated before, Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces. Before astrologers became aware of Neptune as a planet, Jupiter was the ruler of Pisces. And that's because Pisces can be very optimistic. It can be very much about beliefs, just like Sagittarius can. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I hope that this video finds you in a very positive state. I'm feeling very positive. I'm feeling very positive and optimistic right now, sitting in this beautiful sunny orchard. There's just something about Sagittarius that's so fiery and sunny and happy, and I love that. I really love that a lot. I really hope this video was helpful for you, and thank you so much for watching.